Hi everybody, hope you're doing okay tonight. It's Thursday. If you're like me, you have to remind yourself, what is today? So we're going to do some yoga tonight. I'm hoping that you will join me, if maybe not live, but later on this video. So to get started, I thought I would move back a little bit so we can see. I'm trying to get the right lighting here. So tonight I thought I would just let our focus be about ritual. We all need and want rituals in our life. We may not think that we do, but it's just a human need to have and do rituals. So yoga for many people is a ritual. And right now we're sort of out of our rituals. We're doing things a little bit differently. You might be missing some of the activities that you normally do. Your rituals are out of sync, if you will. So one way to stay in touch with your rituals is to practice your yoga, to step on your mat every day if you can, even if it's just for a few minutes. So tonight, let your practice be your ritual. Rituals provide pattern, they provide meaning, they give us a sense of security and calm in our lives. And that's what our yoga practice can be for us. Sometimes I say yoga is my medicine because, if I'm having a bad day or things are going wrong, I can step onto my mat and practice, and it shifts my perspectives. It changes things for me. So I hope that this yoga practice will do that for you as well today. So to get started, why don't you come on down into child's pose. I'm going to come on back to my mat. Put a little background noise on because I live in a full house. Trying to keep everybody quiet to record is a little bit of a challenge. Let's bring your forehead down to your mat. Take a moment just to breathe into your back. And settle into your space. Feel the full weight of your body sink down onto your legs. Let your chest rest on top of your legs, rounding into your back. And just be here for a moment. Be present. Be still. And perhaps take a moment to think about how yoga is a ritual for you. Are you used to practicing all the time? And how has that changed since we're all home now practicing? And then lift yourself up. And move your cat and cow a few times. Just move your back up and down. Getting notes that my mic is not great. Thanks. Thanks, Justin. So move your back up and down in your cat pose. Lift and lowering your spine. And then move side to side and forward and back. Any way that feels good in your back. There's no wrong way to move here. And then come on down and take a seat. Sit comfortably. Good. And then drop your chin forward. And lift your chin up towards the ceiling. Let your shoulders drop heavy into your shoulder joint. And then drop your chin down again. And lift the chin up towards the ceiling. And coming back just to a neutral position, bring your hands right here to your heart center. Pause again, making this a ritual action for you. We need those patterns, and we need the rituals in our life. The consistency, the place to come back to. And while our rituals are different, perhaps you're missing the people that you normally practice with. Maybe you're missing the place where you like to practice. I know I'm missing the sacred space at SunWater, the beautiful views of the mountain. But while we are different in our rituals, we can just sort of close our eyes and pretend that we're there with our friends, we're there in our space. So let's open with one chant of Om. So take a deep breath in, exhaling all the way out, and then inhale for an Om. And then interlace your fingers, draw your arms up, take a big stretch. Pull your ribs into your body. Good. As you're going to turn to your right, look over your right shoulder. And then turn over to the left side. And then come back into the center. Go ahead and release your left hand to the floor. Lift your right arm up and then come on over and stretch. Good. Being heavy in your hips, so don't let your right hip come off the ground. You want to keep it rooted. Start to turn your belly and your chest up towards the ceiling. And then we'll release and we'll take it to the other side. Lifting up and come on over. You might notice I have a fire going tonight. I don't know where you're watching this from, but here in Colorado it's cold and we're expecting some snow, so I thought I'd take advantage of a fireplace tonight. And then release. Good. Let's go ahead and reach both arms straight out from your shoulders. Take your palms away. Good. Now cross your right arm over your left. Flip your palms together and lift your elbows. Bring your fingertips away from your face to stretch into your shoulders. And then open up your arms wide again. Press your fingers up towards the ceiling, your palms away. Get that stretch across the front of your chest. And then let's do the left side. So left arm crosses over. Flip your palms so they come towards each other. And just do the best. If you can't get your palms together, it's okay. Just be where you are. Working a stretch in your shoulder. And then release. Taking your hands down onto your knees. Let's bring the soles of our feet together. Just take a few spins around. Like to get into our hips. Just get some movement there. And then make your spin go the other direction. Take it around. And then finding the center, go ahead and extend your legs straight out in front of you. And just do a few point and flex to wake up your legs. Maybe you've been sitting a little bit today, or maybe not quite as active as you normally are, so you might feel it in your legs. Take a few rolling motions in your ankles. And switch, take it the other way. Then pull your toes back, walk your hands along the sides of your feet, and take an easy bow. Deep breath in, pulling your ribs back into your body, round your spine. And then use your hands to help lift you up. Let's come on over back to our tabletop. Pull up your belly, be in a nice strong table. So your hands are underneath your shoulders and your knees are underneath your hips. You're going to extend your right leg straight out behind you and then cross it over the left. Put your toes on the ground and reach your right heel out. Now turn your whole upper body and look back at your right heel. So get that side stretch in your right hip flexor. And then lift the leg back up, come into the center. Let's do the other side. So we're going to extend the left leg straight out, toes down, and then come on over to the right side. Put your toes on the floor, and then turn your whole upper body and twist. So you're getting a big stretch in your left hip flexor. And then lift the leg back up and come into the center. Lift up for angry cat. Let your head go between your arms. Good. Stay with that angry cat and lift your knees off the floor a few inches. Engaging your core. Good. Now slowly begin to straighten your legs. Use your hands to push you back into your first downward facing dog. Once you get there, let's bend one knee and then the other knee. Just working out your legs. And then bend both knees a lot. And bring your shoulders, get that right. Bring your ribs to the tops of your legs. And you're going to sway your hips side to side, keeping your knees bent. And now take some small baby steps. Walk your feet to the top of your mat. I'm just going to turn this way so it's easier for you all to see. You're going to grab hold of opposite elbows and hang over. You can keep your knees bent as much as your hamstrings tell you that you need to. Lift your tailbone up. Take a deep breath. Here's where you let go. Go inward. Tune out all the other distractions going on, and just be here, making this your ritual action tonight, your way to connect. And you're going to relax the hands to the floor, pull your belly up and in, and roll yourself up, reaching tall. Take a big stretch up. Exhale and dive all the way back down to the ground. Let's start to pull the belly up and in. Soften your knees. Inhale and roll up again. Taking breath as you reach tall. Lift up. And exhale. Swan dive off. Let your heart lead as you come all the way down. And let's inhale again one more time. Roll yourself up. All the way up to the top. Stay up this time. Drop your left hand along the left side of your body. Lift your right arm a little higher and then come over for a side stretch. Keep your legs active, ribs pulled in, belly in. Maybe turn your eyes and your face, start to look up. And then use your right hand. So aim your pinky finger, reach it over to help open the whole right side of your body. And with another inhale, rise up. And then we're going to come over to the other side and stretch. Finding your breath. Opening the left side of your body. And then let's inhale, reach back up. Exhale, take your dive down again, all the way to the ground. Good. Plant your hands on the ground and take 2 steps back into your downward facing dog again. Take an opportunity to look back at your feet. You want your ankles to be underneath your hips. And then take an opportunity to look at your wrists. You want your wrists to be as far apart as your shoulders. And then really spread your fingers, claw your fingers into the floor. Push your hands down to the ground to reach your hips back and apart. So you feel a sense of broadening in your hips. Bending your knees to whatever degree feels good in your legs. So you feel the work, but it's not excruciating. It shouldn't be painful in yoga, so it should feel like a nice stretch. Good. Use your toes to lift up, send your body forward into a plank. So when you come forward, your shoulders are going to come forward of your wrist, and you do want that. So Lift it up here, nice strong plank pose. If this is too much, knees on the ground, but keep your belly engaged so that you're still working. So we're going to take an inhale, lengthen out the top of our head, lengthen out through our heels, bend our elbows so they point back towards our feet, and lower down to the ground. Good. Untuck your toes, squeeze your legs together, and then we're going to inhale, roll the shoulders up to your ears, and then back and down, away from your ears. Hug your elbows in next to your body, and try not to throw your head back, but instead, keep it neutral. Just reach the back of your head. Lowering yourself back down onto the floor, push back into child's pose. So you're going to roll through your body. You can walk your hands back, make yourself small. And if your forehead has difficulty reaching the floor, you can stack your hands and put your forehead there. So we're going to inhale, reverse exactly what we just did. So look between your hands, lightly grip the floor, pull yourself forward. Let your hands be landing right along the side of your rib cage if possible. And then we're going to push down through our feet, squeeze our legs together. Inhale, lift up for our cobra again. Shoulders down, elbows bent, and then lower back to the floor. Push back into child's pose, lift up and roll back. Make yourself small, tailbone down. And so let's reverse that one more time. Look between your hands. Take an inhale and pull yourself. Stay low. So you're working your arms here. Keep your elbows low. Push yourself forward. Roll right into your cobra. Now reverse that. Come on down. Pull your belly up and in, and then use your hands to push the floor away and come back into your child's pose. So you should feel that work in your arms. We're going to do that one more time. Look between your hands, pull your belly up and in, and then glide forward. Try not to let your elbows touch the ground. Lifting up into your cobra. Lowering down. As soon as you feel straight, push the floor away and reach your hips back. Good. Legs and arms should be getting warmed up now. So we're going to lift up and you're going to step your right foot up between your hands. So back foot, you can leave it flat on the ground. I like to turn mine under. Just feel like it gives me a little more balance when I do that. So you're going to hug your inner thighs towards each other and then lift up. Bring your hands right to the top of your thigh. Take a breath here. Good. Now pull belly ribs in so that you're sitting pretty square over your shoulders. Hug your legs towards each other so your inner thighs squeeze in. And you can stay here if you want a little more work tonight. Reach your arms up. And if you're feeling a little more adventurous, you're going to reach that left hand to the back of your left thigh and maybe take a little bit of an arch here. Inhale your breath. And on your exhale, release your hands down to the ground. Roll backwards and straighten over that front leg. Keeping this knee soft so not locked, a little bit of bend there. Take an inhale. And on your exhale, lower down. I like to push my right heel into the ground and just gently draw it back so that I can feel my hips becoming level across the back. Also gives you a great stretch. Good. Take another breath here. And on your exhale, bring it back into your table. So we can switch sides. So let's lift up left leg. Rock forward gently in your hips. Not too much though. Use this knee and your ankle as a guide. So what you don't want is you don't want your knee to extend way out here past your ankle because it kind of stresses out your knee when you do that. So think of your ankle as the foundation for your knee. So you want that knee to be right on top of your heel. Hug your legs in and then pull the ribs back as you begin to lift up. Opening up through your right hip flexor this time. Hips stay square, ribs in, Shoulders down your back. Stay here or reach the arms up. And maybe this time the right hand comes back to the back of the right thigh, and you take a slight bit of an arch. That hand's there just to support you. Keep your chest working straight forward. Good, and then releasing the hands down to the ground. Roll backwards in your hips. Lift your toes up, soften through the knee. Take an inhale, and exhale as you lower down. Gently dragging the heel back. You're not really moving that foot, it's just the action of pulling the leg back. Good, and then bring the leg all the way back into your table again. Turn your toes and downward facing dog. Stretch up high. Good, so let's walk the feet up between our hands and forward fold. Good, so again, you can bend your knees as much as your hamstrings tell you that you ought to. If you have a little more flexibility and you want to lift up, go for it. Start lifting up through the tailbone. Try not to lock your knees, but keep them straight. Top of your head straight to the ground. So there's no need to hold your head up here. Just let gravity get a hold. And then gently shake your head yes and no a few times. Let the tension go. Good. Come into a halfway lift. So extend through your spine. Bring your fingertips to your shin. Reach your head out. Pull ribs up into your body. And hug your outer glute muscles towards your tailbone. Exhale and fold. All the way up. Inhale. Rise up to the top. Exhale. Hands to your heart. All right, let's do some sun salutations to get warm. Inhale, reach up. On your exhale, fold all the way down. Inhale, halfway lift. So fingers on your shin. If you got a lot of flexibility, you can leave them on the floor. Exhale, hands down. Take 2 big steps back and find your plank pose. So top of a push-up, shoulders slightly forward the wrist, pull the belly and ribs up. Take a breath. And on your exhale, lower everything down to the ground. Squeeze your legs together, inhale, and lift up for your cobra. Again, easy on the neck, keep your chin neutral, and release. Push off the floor, downward facing dog. Pause right here for a couple of breaths. Really reach your hips up. Feel free to move your legs if you're feeling the itch to kind of walk it out. That's totally fine. And while you're here, just pause. Remember your focus, this ritual action. How is moving your body a ritual for you? And what does it feel like when you miss that ritual, when you don't do it? So let's inhale up onto your toes. Exhale, bend your knees, and you can take several little steps and walk to the top of your mat. Halfway lift, inhale. Exhale and fold all the way down. Rise with your breath. Inhale and come all the way up. Hands to your heart. Exhale. Let's do that again. Inhale, lift up. Exhale, dive to the floor. Inhale, head comes up, halfway lift. Hands on the ground. Come back to your plank pose. Exhale as you lower your body to the floor. Legs together. Inhale, come up for cobra. Exhale, release. Push off the ground, downward facing dog. Reach up and back again. Now take a moment to find your breath. Maybe you hear that ujjayi, that breath of sound. A slight vibration at the back of your throat. So let's inhale up onto our toes. Exhale, bend your knees. This time, you maybe want to switch to take 2 big steps. So 1 step in, and then the other step. If that's too much, save those little steps. Halfway lift, inhale. Exhale and fold. What happened here? Oh, this is coming. All right, let's rise all the way up. Inhale, reach up tall, stretch. Hands to your heart. Exhale. Inhale, lift. Exhale, fold all the way down. Halfway lift, inhale. Plant your hands on the ground. Come on back into your plank pose. Option, take it to the floor or chaturanga. If you come to chaturanga though, don't drop your shoulders lower than your elbows. If you're in chaturanga, use your toes, push forward into upward dog. Thighs and knees are off the floor. Too much, you're going to leave the legs on the floor for a cobra. Roll back, downward facing dog. Full breath here. Start to notice just how those few little vinyasas are waking up your body, how you're creating more space. And you feel the energy moving in your body. Good, so you're going to inhale up on your toes. Exhale, bend your knees. Now you have some options, little steps, 2 big steps, or maybe you want to take a hop. And then halfway lift, inhale. Exhale, fold. Rise with your breath. Come all the way up again. Inhale, stretch tall. Hands to your heart. Exhale. Let's take another round. Inhale, lift. Exhale, fold all the way down. Inhale, halfway lift. Plant your hands on the ground. Come back to your plank pose. Exhale either to the floor or chaturanga. Inhale, upward dog or cobra. Exhale, downward facing dog. Inhale, up on your toes. Exhale, bend your knees. Either walk, step, or hop your feet to the top of the mat. Halfway lift, inhale. Exhale, fold. Rise with your breath. Inhale, all the way up. Hands to your heart. Exhale. One more time. Inhale, lift. Exhale, fold all the way down. Halfway lift. Plant your hands on the ground. Come back to your plank pose. Exhale, either chaturanga or the floor. Inhale, upward dog or cobra. Exhale, downward facing dog. Inhale, up on your toes. Bend your knees, hop, step, or walk your feet top of the mat. Halfway lift, inhale. Exhale, fold. Big breath carries you all the way up to the top. Hands to your heart. Exhale. Good. Close your eyes right here. Do a quick check-in. See how you're feeling after a few rounds of Surya Namaskara A. Some people say, why is this always the same, the sun salutation? And it comes back to what I was talking about earlier. It's the ritual. It's doing the same ritual pattern, the same movement over and over again. So what happens is when we do sun salutations often, we don't have to think about what comes next. Our bodies just sort of know how to do the ritual. Pretty much could do it in my sleep, sun salutation A or B. But why is that important? Because sometimes when life gets challenging, as it is now, you don't want to think about it. You just want to be able to do it. And so doing sun salutations enough where you don't have to bring your brain into it, where your body just does it, allows you to be in the practice without having to think about it. So with any ritual pattern, the more we do it, it becomes a habit. And we want our rituals to be habits because we don't think about our habits. We just do them automatically. All right, so stay here. We're going to take our left leg and step back into Warrior One. So bend your right knee, turn your hips to the front, press that back heel into the ground, pull your ribs and belly in, and again, work on getting that whole outside edge of your foot down onto the ground. Ribs in, hands can be at your heart, or if you want a little more work, you can lift up the arms. Take a breath here, maybe bend that front knee a little bit more. Tune into your breath. Hear yourself breathe. Going to take another inhale. Exhale your breath all the way and step to the top of your mat. Bring your palms together at your heart. Pause. Switch feet. Take your right foot back. Left foot forward, turn your hips to the front, left knee is bent, back leg straight if you can, ribs in, hands either at the heart or you can lift them up. So again, feel that back foot. You want the inside of your ankle to be lifting, the inside of that arch, and the outside of your ankle to be stretching towards the floor. So from your little toe all the way to the outside edge of your heel. Ribs pull back, lift your heart, breathe. Strong, steady breath. Keeping your mind in the present. Your breath is your anchor into this moment. Inhale another breath in. Exhale it out and then step to the top of your mat. Pause here or vinyasa. Inhale up. Exhale, fold. Halfway lift. Plant your hands on the ground. Step back into plank. Exhale and lower. Inhale, opening the chest. Back into downward facing dog. Rise up onto your toes. Bend your knees. Hop, step, or walk your feet to the top of the mat. Halfway lift. Exhale, fold. Inhale, carries you back up. Hands to your heart. Exhale. Nice. Breathe. All right, step your left foot back for Warrior 2, Virabhadrasana B. So step wider than you did for Warrior 1. Bend your front knee, extend your arms out. Good, so let's come back to this back foot. You're gonna reach this whole outside part of your ankle. Gets a nice stretch and the inside arch lifts up. Toes are turned in slightly. You're gonna bend that front knee. Virabhadrasana B, Warrior 2. Find your breath again. Perhaps Ujjayi breath, breath of sound if you want more power. One more inhale. Exhale. Good. Now step to the top of your mat on your next inhale. Bring your hands to your heart. Let's switch to the other side. So step the right foot back. Bend the left knee. Extend out. Good. So in this pose, sometimes we tend to lean out. So I want you to pull the rib cage back. So you're sitting square between your two hips. Then bend your front knee. Turn your head if you like. Hug your feet towards each other. So it's like you're pulling your feet in towards the center of your mat. Maybe bend the knee a little more. Pull the belly and ribs in. Find your strength in your pose. Inhale another breath. Exhale it all the way out. Step to the top of your mat. Bring your hands to your heart. Pause here or vinyasa. Inhale. Exhale and fold. Halfway lift. Step the feet back into plank. Exhale either to the floor or chaturanga. Inhale. Upward dog or cobra. Exhale. Downward facing dog. Inhale up onto your toes. Bend your knees. Hop, step, or walk your feet. Halfway lift. Exhale. Fold. Inhale carries you up again. Ride the wave of your breath. Bring your hands to your heart. Pause. All right, let's inhale one more time. Reach up. Exhale, dive down. Just come to a forward fold here. Top of your head points to the ground. Lift your tailbone up. And remember, you can bend your knees as much as you need to. Good. Now bend your knees a lot, maybe getting your hips to be about level with your knees. Inhale, lift your chest up and come into your chair pose. Good. Holding this pose here, so your hands can always be at your heart. That's always an option. So if it's too much to have those arms lifted, bring them right here to your heart. Great options. Pull your ribs and belly in like you're knitting your ribs together here. Draw your hips back. So oftentimes when I'm teaching in class where I can see people, what I often see is this, the knees way forward over your big toes. So you want to look down and see, can you pull your knees back so you clearly see those toes? And you're working your knees back over your heels. Then drop your hips down, squeeze your legs towards each other. Squeeze your outer glute muscles towards your tailbone. Pull your ribs in. Feel that work in your legs. So again, hands up or down. You can always choose on that, which one you like better, which one suits you better tonight. Go take another breath here. And then inhale, rise up. Exhale, dive to the floor. Halfway lift, inhale. Plant your hands on the ground and take downward facing dog. So take 2 steps back. Big breath. Maybe take a lion's breath here. Stick out your tongue. Let the breath go. Gently shake the head. All right, so we're going to take a short downward dog. Take a few steps in so you can get your feet flat on the ground. So some of you may need to bend your knees here. That's totally fine. But you do want your feet on the ground. And again, sort of a short downward dog. Now take your right hand, reach to the outside of your left ankle. And then bend your right elbow and look underneath your left arm. And then to really get the stretch, push the palm of your left hand into the floor. I don't know if y'all can see that. But when I push the palm into the ground, it reaches my hip back. And we want that. It's a great stretch. Breathe here. And then come back into the center. And we'll do the same thing on the other side. So we're going to take our left hand underneath your body over to the outside of your right ankle. Bend your left elbow. Look underneath your right arm. Now push the palm of your right hand into the ground and reach your hips back. As much bend in your knee as your hamstrings insist. Draw your tailbone down to the ground here. Really stretch. Feel that hip stretch in the right side. And then come back into all fours. Take 2 steps back into a downward facing dog. So you might stay here, or maybe a child's pose is calling your name. Either one. Take a resting pose for a moment. I'm going to check my time. Oh, what's going on here? What happened there? All right, and let's come back up, downward facing dog. And then lift the right leg up, stretch it up high. Go ahead and bend your right knee, and you're going to point the top of your kneecap up towards the ceiling. So you're tipping your hip open, working that foot behind. Couple things to watch. Very common is we collapse in our left shoulder. So push both hands into the ground, level out your shoulders here, and then don't hyperextend this bottom leg. You want to keep a little bit of bend there just to protect your knee. Good, so scorpion pose, you got your big scorpion tail up in the air. You're welcome to stay here if you're feeling a little more adventurous. You can keep that foot reaching over to the floor and flip your dog into wild thing. Any variation you like of this pose? Get another breath. Take an inhale. And your exhale. Flip on back over. Find your downward facing dog. Shift forward to plank pose. Exhale either chaturanga or the floor. Inhale, upward dog or cobra. Back into your downward facing dog. Roll through your body. Just letting go. Feeling a nice stretch. Taking a pause to see how this feels in your body tonight. All right, left leg reaches up for your scorpion. So you're going to lift that leg high. Bend your left knee and then tip your hip. So you're trying to stack your hip. Watch you don't drop your shoulders. Keep them level. Release the tension in your neck. And right leg, a little bit of bend in your knee. Stay here or continue that journey by flipping your dog and finding your wild thing. And on your next inhale, come on back over into your downward facing dog. Shift forward to plank. This time lower everything to the floor. Come all the way down. Slide your elbows underneath your shoulders. Lightly grip the floor. Pull your chest between your arms for your Sphinx pose. Push your elbows down into the ground. Go ahead, quick neck stretch. So you're going to turn your head, or tilt your head, I should say, so that your right ear is over your right shoulder. And then tilt your head the other way. And then come back into the middle and release down. Bring your hands along your rib cage, roll back to child's pose, but bring your hands with you. Draw them back by your heels. Lay your shoulders on top of your knees. And then with an inhale, come on back up into your downward facing dog. Reach up, hips to the sky. Let's lift the right leg. So inhale, reach the leg up high. Start to shift forward so your shoulders come over your wrist. Pull your ribs and belly way up to create space. So when you bend your right leg, you can step that foot right between your hands. Now do your best. If you can't get it all the way up there, just use your hand to help you. Bend that front knee. Find a runner's lunge here. Breathe. Now strengthen the legs. So you're going to hug your legs towards each other. Pull your abdominal muscles up and in. Take your time. Rise up for crescent. So this is similar to what we did in our warm-up. So if you like, you're going to take your left hand to the back of your left thigh and then maybe reach back for a bigger arch here. Good. On your inhale, reach through your right hand, reach through your left heel. Make the pose big and then come on down. Taking your time, downward dog. Come all the way back. Let's do the other side. Left leg lifts up high. Shift forward, shoulders over your wrist. Pull belly, ribs up. Make space so you can bring that leg up and through. Bend the front knee. Hug your legs towards each other. You can always bend that back leg if you need to. On an inhale, let's come up. Finding your crescent. Staying here, or right hand comes to the back of the right thigh and maybe reach back. So keep your chest, ribs forward and arch back. Full breath, inhale, and on your exhale, come on back down. Find your downward facing dog, stretch back. Let's move to pigeon. Right leg lifts up. On your exhale, I'm going to glide through. This time the knee is going to land between your hands. Good. Turn your toes under your back foot and lift up the leg as you stretch your heel back. Like to move side to side, kind of find the right spot. And then you can relax your toes. So if this is difficult for you, use a pillow underneath your right hip to give you some support. So try to keep your hips level here. Press your fingers into the ground, lift up and find your proud pigeon. Good, take a breath. And on your exhale, walk yourself out and find your resting pigeon. So this might be enough stretch for you. If you want to add in the quad stretch, you can start to lift that back leg. Maybe reach around, grab it with your same hand. Now if you do grab hold, take a moment to square your chest to the front, square your hips, and take your stretch. You can take any version of this that you like. And then release. Let's come on back into downward facing dog so we can switch legs. And then with your next inhale, lift your left leg up. Bring it through, bend the knee, and this time instead of your foot, you're going to bring the knee to the ground. Toes turn under on your right foot and reach your heel back. So you actually lift off the ground to do that. Reach the heel back and then relax it. Square your hips, chest to the front, ribs back and in, and then resting pigeon, walking yourself out. And on this side, if you took that quad stretch, let's go ahead and do it on this side. So you can bend the leg up. See if you can reach back. Now, if you can't grab your foot, no worries. Just stay in your resting pigeon. That is the beauty of yoga. There's always another pose to move towards. And everybody's different. You know, just because somebody can grab their foot doesn't make them a better yogi. It just means they have a little more space at this moment. You know, so our bodies are constantly changing and our practice is not static. So find what feels good for you in this moment. And then softening out of your pose, begin to lift yourself up and you're just going to swing your back leg around and bring it on top. So if you're not on the same leg as me, that's fine. We're obviously going to do both sides. So I got my right leg on top. So I'm going to flex my right foot and put my ankle on top of my knee and then my knee on top of my ankle. Both feet are flexed for our knees' sake. Now, if you're here and your knee looks a little like this and you can't lower it down, that's okay. You can put a pillow in here if you want to prop it or just be where you are in the pose. But you do want to work your right hip to the floor the best that you can. So again, it's not as important that your knee is square here. Do again what feels nice in your body. Feet are flexed. You can stay seated straight up. A little tongue tied. Or if you want to take a bow, walk yourself forward and find that. You might even be able to get your chest on top of your legs. Sink in. Let go of your hips. We hold on to a lot of stuff in our hips, so it's a good opportunity just to release. And then use your hands to help lift you up. Taking both feet onto the floor, wider than your hips. Bring your hands back to help you support yourself. And you're just going to rock your knees in a few times. All right, let's do the other side. So I'm going to curl my right leg in and stack my left leg on top. And kind of maybe pull the flesh out of the way so I feel my two sit bones onto the ground. Feet are flexed. And again, if this knee is way up here, don't stress about it. Just be where you can in the pose. And hands can be out on either side, or maybe walk out front and take an easy bow here. Pull your two bottom ribs into your body. Help to root your tailbone down to the ground. And in this pose, come back to our focus, this ritual action of coming onto our mat, of practicing. I have a good friend who went through some tragedy recently, and she's been blogging a lot about how her yoga practice has been her saving grace, to be able to have the tools that yoga provides to get on the mat and to move her body in the ritual action where she doesn't have to think about it. She just does it. Walk yourself up and then take your feet out wide. However wide you can go comfortably. Dig your heels slightly into the floor, pull in so that your knees start to pop up, so you get that softness in your knees. And then you can relax it down, but you don't want the legs to hyperextend. Hands come forward, and you just come to wherever your point of stretch is. Everybody's going to be in a different place. Cool thing about doing this in our living room is we don't have to worry about looking at anybody else. We can just focus on where we are. So there's no way to compare here online. So just, be where you are in your pose. Pull your belly up and in. Soften into your pose. And again, just let this practice be your ritual. Your tool for trauma. And it's really what we're facing right now. It's a bit of trauma for all of us to be completely uprooted from our normal lives. So it's okay. Accept that. Be there. And let your practice help you to move through it. Use your hands to help lift you up. Then you're going to curl your left leg in. Bring your hands on either side of your right leg. I like to push my fingers into the ground so I can kind of lift up. So root down to rise. Turn over your right leg. Pull the whole right side of your ribs back. And then walk over your right leg. If your left hip starts to come off the floor, root it back down. Keep working your right ribs back. And if you want just a little extra opening, you can use your left hand on the thigh and just push away. I think it feels really good. I use my thumb on the inside of my thigh, roll that thigh back. Whew, that feels great. And then gently lift yourself up. And then we'll switch to the other side. Left leg out, right leg in. Hands on either side of that left leg. Again, push down so you can lift tall. Pull your ribs back as you turn your upper body over your straightened leg. All those actions together. And then walk yourself out. Pull the left bottom ribs back. Right ribs forward. So you're turning your entire rib cage straight over this leg. Keep pulling the belly back. Rooting your right hip to the floor. And again, if you want to take your hand on the inside of your right thigh and roll that thigh back as you push down. I should give you a little extra stretch there. Good, and then release out of that pose. And let's come on to our backs. So roll yourself down and then wrap your arms around your legs. I know we do this a lot in yoga poses, but really I want you to really get tight if you can. Maybe grab your elbows, but really squeeze. Make yourself into a little ball. Bring your nose up into your knees. Make yourself so tight that it's hard to even breathe here. Really compact in. And then let your head come down to the ground. Pull more. Try to get your back to flatten down towards the ground. Drop your tailbone down. And then soften in your arms. Open up your feet. Going to grab the little toe side of your feet. Pull down your knees on either side for happy baby. Good. Drop your tailbone back down to the earth. I know it likes to rock up in this pose, but drop it down. And then straighten out the right leg. Reach your heel, toes towards the floor. And come back to center, reaching out the left leg. And come back into center. Good. Bring the soles of your feet together. And you're going to hold on to the outsides of your feet. Pull feet straight down to your belly. Your knees are going to separate on either side of your rib cage. Drop your tailbone down again. Good. Now soften the legs just slightly or lift them up. Now work your feet higher up towards your forehead. Good. Now, of course, if you can bring your feet over your head in this pose, be my guest. Otherwise, you're just going to bring your feet straight down, right about where your throat is if you can. Notice again how my tailbone rocks up. So I want to bring it back down to the earth. Pull the feet gently towards you. And release into your low back. It's a great stretch. Good. Soften everything. Bring your feet onto the ground, hip distance apart. Your hands can be on either side of your hips. Press your heels into the floor to lift your hips off the ground. Good. Now chin off your chest, hips up. Stay with your hands where they are. If you want a higher arch, you can interlace your fingers underneath, shimmy your shoulder blades together, and lift a little higher if you like. Good. Keep working the knees forward. Inhaling a breath, push down through the heels, maybe lift a tad higher. And then release your arms, roll down onto the ground. And let's lift the right leg up to the sky. You can bring your hands along the back of your leg to grab wherever is comfortable. If it's easy for you to grab your big toe, go ahead and do that. If you do that, though, drop your shoulder back down and then root that hip, because this hip likes to rise up. So instead, keep it level and then just gently give yourself a pull. Totally fine to bend this knee here. And let's release the leg and we'll switch to the other side. Left leg lifts up. Again, you can hold the back of your thigh, back of your calf, or maybe your big toe. Softness in the knee. And it's just gently stretching that heel up. And then release. Bring both feet on the ground. Let your knees come out to the side. Bring the soles of your feet together. Bring your hands on top of your thighs and just gently push your thighs away. So if there's any last movements that you're hoping to do tonight, maybe you like to practice, shoulder stand or something like that, feel free to add that in here. If you want a modified version, you can just lift your feet up towards the ceiling and let your legs relax. So we're about to move towards our final pose, our Shavasana. But again, if there's one last pose that you would like to do before we go there, be my guest. If you're ready for your final pose, your Shavasana, go ahead and lay on your back. Close your eyes. Take a deep breath in through your nose. Exhale from your mouth. Do that in a form of a sigh. Release and let go. Let your palms turn up towards the ceiling. Let your feet roll out. Arms soft. Legs relaxed. The full weight of your body. Just let it go. Release. Allow your breath to soften so that you're not forcing the breath, you're just allowing the breath. Elizabeth Gilbert, who wrote the book Eat, Pray, and Love, she talks about rituals, and I just want to share that with you in our final thoughts, our Shavasana. She says we do spiritual ceremonies or rituals as human beings in order to create a safe resting place for our most complicated feelings of joy or trauma, so that we don't have to haul those feelings around with us forever. We don't have to let those feelings weigh us down. We all need such places of ritual safekeeping. So yoga could be our spiritual ceremony, if you will. It could be our safekeeping place, our ritual, our place to just let go of the feelings that we're having. Not forever, they don't disappear, but more it's a place to hold them. Rituals bring relief when everything is falling apart. Having a daily practice like your yoga practice, creating that ritual of doing your yoga, again, provides pattern and consistency to your life. And when the life gets crazy, and it does, and it is, we come back to this ritual to find that sense of safety, that place of inner peace, our sanctuary, our spiritual ceremony. And while we may not be together as we normally are in our practices, we are still connected. The aim of yoga is to remember that we are all connected, that we are all one. So you're welcome to stay in your Shavasana for as long as you like. Loka samasta sukhino bhavantu. May all know peace, and may our words, thoughts, and actions contribute to that peace in some way. I wish you all a beautiful evening. I hope to see you again next time here for SunWater Spa and our live classes. Have a great night. Namaste.